Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to be learning how to cut and sew a Milkmaid bustier dress. If this sounds like what you would love to learn, then let's get into it. In front of me here I have my basic bodice block. This basic bodice block is very important on this channel because most of the things that we do we start from using the basic bodice block. So if you don't know how to draft this, I'll drop a very detailed tutorial. I'll drop the link to a very detailed tutorial in the description box, so go check it out. So what I have, the only line that I drew here that is different from the basic bodice block is the underbust line. So my underbust is 12.5. so that's what I marked here. This is it, 12.5. Every other thing is on the basic bodice block. So the first thing that we want to do is to alter this basic bodice block into an off shoulder pattern, because the Milkmaid dress is an off shoulder dress. So I'm going to mark how low I want my off shoulder to be. So I don't want it to be so deep. I'll just mark 5 inches. I'll go down by 5 inches. So that is what I'm marking across from the front to the back. So I'll turn it into a straight line. If you want yours to be deep, you can use like 7 inches to 8 inches. To get my bra to bra strap, the width of my bra, just take your tape and put it on one strap of your bra to the other strap of the bra. Whatever you get, you divide it by 2. For me is 11 inches. So 11 divided by 2 is going to give me 5.5 inches. So I'm going to mark 5.5 on this line that we just drew. This will be our new, this line that we just drew now is going to be our shoulder line. This part is no longer needed. You see, this part is no longer needed. We're no longer going to use it. We have turned it into an off shoulder pattern. So this line we just drew is going to be our new shoulder line. So this part is no longer needed. So on this line, I'm going to mark my bra to bra strap measurement, which is 11. 11 divided by 2 will give me 5.5. So I'm going to mark 5.5 from my center front. This is my center front, while this is my center back. So I'm going to mark 5.5 on my shoulder line. 5.5. This is 5.5. Then I'll draw it. I'll draw my new armhole. This will no longer be my armhole. So I'll draw my new armhole to this point. From my 5.5, I'll draw my new armhole. So that is done. This is my new armhole. We're no longer using this as our armhole. So the next thing I want to do, on this underbust line, I'm going to go up by 1 inch. On this underbust, this is my underbust line. I'm going to go up by 1 inch. Then I'll use my cuff to connect it to the dart leg here. You know, this is our dart. I told you, if you have watched the basic bodies, you will understand what is happening here. You know all these lines that are drawn here. So I'm going to connect from the 1 inch I drew. I'm going to connect it to this dart leg here. Good. So I've connected it. Then on this my dart point, you know, this is my nipple to nipple line. This is my nipple to nipple point. This is my bust point, and I drew my dart. So from this dart point, I'm going to mark whatever I used as my nipple to nipple. My nipple to nipple is 7. 7 divided by 2 will give me 3.5. So I mark 3.5 here. So I'll mark another 3.5 again on this same line. From the bust point, I'll mark 3.5 again. 3.5. So this is my 3.5. Then I'll bring my curve again. Then I'll take it from this, my point here. This is my bra to bra strap. From here, I'll touch here. Then I'll touch the underbust. If you can't get all the points together, you can just connect it one by one. So let's connect this first. Then we can now connect this. You can just use your free hand. Let me use my free hand. So that is done. You see, so our pattern is ready. It's as simple as this. But But before we cut out, we are going to close all our darts, because by the time we close our darts, this line will alternate. So let's leave it first and go straight to the back. The back, there's nothing serious about the back. All you need to do is just to bring in your bra to bra strap that you used there. We used 5.5. So from the center back, this is the center back, we're going to mark the 5.5 also. Mark it on the shoulder line. Then we'll connect our new armhole just the way we did for the front too. We'll connect our new armhole. I hope you are following me. It's very, very easy. This tutorial is a very, very easy tutorial. So what I want to do is to open up this dart. I just want to make the dart to just lift the dart to the bust point. Let it get to the to the chest line. So I'm just going to take my dart to get to the chest line. I just want my dart to get to the chest line. That's all. So we are done. We are basically done for the back and the front. So all we need to do is to close our dart. We need to close our dart and redraw our cup, because this will become our cup. This is our cup. This is the bodice and this is our cup. So let's close all our dart. First of all, let me open the waist dart. So I'm just going to open the waist dart first. I've opened it to the bust point. Then I'm going to close my bust dart. But before I close it, let's share the pattern. Let me just share the pattern and separate the front from the back. Okay, so let's leave the back aside first. Then let's close our bust dart. So for you to close your bust dart, if you have been following me for a while now, you should know how to close your dart. So I'll just make a crease line on this first line. Then we'll place it on the other line. This is how we close our dart. If you notice, you can see our line is not aligning again, so that means that's why we need to redraw again. But let me tape it down. Let me close the bust dart. I'm trying to tape it down. Okay, so I've taped it down. Then we'll reshape. First we'll reshape this side. We'll reshape our side seam. Once you close your bust dart, the side will not align anymore, so you have to reshape it. So I've reshaped it. Then we'll reshape our cup too. We'll reshape this our cup that is no longer aligning. Okay guys, so I've reshaped our cup. Is now aligning. I hope you can see it. It's now aligning. So the next thing I want to do is to cut out this dart. We'll cut out this dart because we'll tape it down later. Look at this dart. The dart intake. We are just going to cut it out. This means that we have transferred the bust dart to the waist dart. This is just a little manipulation, a little dart manipulation that we are doing. This is just a little dart manipulation. So we are done. All we need to do now is to cut the cup. This is our cup. From here like this is our cup. Don't worry, you see it now. Let's cut out. I'm cutting out. This is just a starting point line that I marked, so I'm cutting it out. It's not part of our measurement, so I'm just going to cut it out like so. Then look at our cup. Just watch how I'm cutting it, you will understand. So this is our cup. Just watch what I'm doing. Okay, see where I'm cutting from? Our new shoulder line. So you see, this will come together. Then let's cut the sides. See, I'm cutting through the new armhole. This is no longer useful to us. We'll remove it. So this is our new pattern. We're just going to close this dart, bring it together and close it. Okay, so this is our pattern and this is our cup. So we can open the bust dart now. We can open the bust dart again. Okay, so I've opened the bust dart. You see it? I've opened the bust dart back. So this will be our cup. This will just be our cup. So what I need to do now, this is our pattern. Let's keep this is the front. Let's go to the back. Let's cut out the back. So for the back, it's just basically the same thing. I'll just cut through our pattern. If you want a neckline, if you don't want straight, if you don't want the back to be straight, if you want it to be curved, you can just add a neckline to it. Okay, let's make it a round neck. So I'll just go down by 1.25, then I'll cut. So it's no longer a straight line. It's no longer a straight neckline. So I'm just going to cut. Instead of the previous straight neck, I just want it to be a bit deep. So, or I can still maintain the straight neckline. I think I prefer the straight neckline. Let me go with the straight neckline. But if you want it curved, you can make it curved. So I'm just going to maintain my straight neckline. Okay, so this is no longer needed. So this is our pattern. You see it? This is our cup. I hope you can see it. So this is our pattern. It's looking so beautiful. So we'll transfer this to fabric. Then I'll show you how to sew it. You can see it. This is our cup. This is our back. And this is our lower. This is the bodice. So what we'll do next, okay? What we'll do next is to shear this cup. We want to do slash and spread on this cup. So I'm going to mark 1 inch. I'm going to mark 1 inch because we are going to do slash and spread. So I'm going to mark 1 inch. Okay, so I'm going to draw it down. Just going to draw straight lines. My marker is fading out. Let me just manage it for this tutorial. I think I can still mark 1 inch here too. Okay, so I'm going to cut it out. Before I cut out, I will label it so that I don't mix them up. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So we have 7. So we'll cut it out. Spread by 1.5. That's what I'm going to be spreading it with, 1.5. that is the last piece I'm pinning down. That's piece number 7. So after pinning them down, you just follow the line and cut out. Just follow this line and cut it out exactly the way it is. Just follow it. So this is our cup. This is our new cup now. So this is what we are going to fix into our bodies now. So this is what is going to be here. Now we are going to gather it into it, and this is the back. This is the back. So this is our complete pattern. So let's transfer to fabric, then start sewing. So guys, I've cut out the panels. You can see this is the cup area. What I'll do, I'll just notch the top so that I'll know that this is the top, so that I will not mix it with the down part. Okay, so I've notched it. So this is the upper part, this is the center front. I left 1 inch at the upper part, and I left 1 inch at the center front because we are going to join it. I'll show you how to do it. Then I left 1/2 inch round here, 1/2 inch round here, that we are going to attach to the cup area. So this is the cup area where we are going to attach. We are going to gather this. This is going to be gathered into this part. You see it? So I left on this one too. I left 1/2 inch round here. I left 1/2 inch around the armhole. This is the armhole. I left 1/2 inch. Then on the side, I left 1.5 inch, and below here that we used to attach to whatever I want to attach down, I left 1/2 inch. So this is the front. Now this is the back. This is the armhole. I left 1/2 inch. I left 1/2 inch upward. This is the zipper allowance. I left 1/2 inch. And also here I left 1.5 inch, and below too I left 1/2 inch. So I've also gone ahead to cut lining. You see it? I've cut lining piece for them. Even this one too, I cut lining piece. You see it? But for the cup, I did not cut lining for the cup. I don't want the cup to have lining because I want the gather to flow. I don't want it to be thick. I just want it to drape very well. So that's what we have done so far. So my darts, I'm going to transfer my darts. I'm going to make sure I sew my darts. This is my dart for the back. So I'll make sure I sew it. I'll transfer it to the fabric and I'll sew it down for the back. But we no longer have that for the front. You see it? We have closed the dart. We no longer have. This is the bust that we closed it. This is the waist that we closed it. So we no longer have that on the front. So let me remove the pin so that we can start sewing now. So I'll just show you what I'm going to do. Okay guys, so this is it. This is the front. This is the cup area. So what I'm going to do with this cup now, I'll go to my sewing machine and I'll leave space. I'll just leave like a little space. Let me check, maybe like 3 inches. I'll leave like 3 inches upward. Then I'll sew from these 3 inches. I'm going to sew down. I'll stitch it down by 1 inch that I left. After stitching down, I'll now fold it to make this space to be knitting. Since we're not using lining to turn it, so I'll just fold here to be knit after sewing this 1 inch. Then on this upper place, I'll turn it because we're going to turn here into a casing where we are going to pass rope so that we can gather this place. I hope you understand. So I'll just fold it a little, then turn it again. Let me show you very well. So on this upper part, I'll just do it like this, then fold it again like this. You see it? This is how I'm going to do it up to this space so that our rope can pass into it, so that we can gather it. So let me just go and do what I'm explaining now so that you understand better. Okay, you see what I've done? I've created the casing like I told you. See, so I'm going to pass rope from here now. I'll pass the rope, and I'll hold it here. Okay, I'll bring the rope now and show you. But look, I've draw gather. I sew gather stitch around this part. I sew gather stitch around this part. So I'm going to gather it. When I gather it, we'll now fix it to this part. this is what I was explaining to you. The 1 inch allowance that I left at the middle, I used it to knitting this part because I don't want to use lining, and I left just some inches. I left like 2.5 inch here before I started closing this place up, and the 1 inch that I left up, I turned it to form a casing so that our rope will pass inside of it, so that the rope will form the gather here. Then I ran gather stitch below here. I ran gather stitch. So right now I'm going to draw the gather stitch, then I'll pass my rope on this, then I'll come back to show you. Then for the back, this is the back. I'm going to sew. I've transferred my dart. The dart on my pattern, I've transferred it to the fabric, even the lining too. So I will just go ahead and sew my dart on the back pattern. Okay guys, so see, I've drawn the gather below. So now what I want to do now is to pass. This is the rope I want to pass. So I'm going to pass it like this from this end. So I'll pass it. Down. Okay, so I'll stitch here down so that the rope doesn't come out, and I'll also stitch here down too so that the rope doesn't come out. So let me stitch it now. This will be the center front where we'll tie. So let me stitch it, then I'll show you. After stitching it, let me just show you. After stitching it, then I'll bring this part that I gathered. You see this part that I gathered? Then I'll sew it here. I'll sew it around this shape, this W shape. So I'll make sure that this joining at the center will align with this part. So I'll sew it like this. I'll sew it like this, and I'll sew it up to this part. I'll leave ½ inch that I'll use lining to turn. I'll also leave ½ inch. After sewing that part, I'll come back here again and I'll sew like this. I'll come over and I'll stop at ½ inch here too. So let me just sew all this and I'll come back to show you what it looks like, so we can use lining to turn it. Okay, for the back too, I've sewn my dart. I've sewn my dart on the back piece. This is my dart. I've sewn it on the 2 piece, and I left the zipper allowance open because I want to do knit finishing. So let me sew the front and I'll come back to show you. Okay guys, so see what we have. I've sewn it down. You can see our Milkmaid is coming out so beautiful. You see it. I've drawn the rope and I've drawn the gathers. Look at the gathers. I sewed it like this. So the next thing I want to do now is to bring my lining piece. This is my lining piece. So what I'll do, I'll just carry the cup, put it inside like this. Put the cup inside, then I'll put the lining over the cup. The lining will be like this. You see it? I'll make sure that it's matching up at the middle here. Then I'll sew it like this. I'll follow that same pattern that I use in sewing the cup in. I'll just follow it. We want to achieve neat finishing, so that's what we'll do. So I'll sew it like this. Sew it like this. We're turning it with the lining, so let me sew it, then I'll come back to show you now. You see, I've turned it. You can see it's neatly finished now. All the rough edges is inside. I've used my lining to turn it, so you can see the inside is looking very neat. Okay, so let's continue. I've held the darts for the back, so what I'll do, I'll just place them over each other, right side facing right side. This is the back. Then I'm going to join. You can join however you want to join. Me, I'm using the neat finishing method. I want all the seam to be inside, so I'm going to join lining to lining like this. I'll join lining to lining like this. Then I'll join fabric to fabric first, then I'll join lining to lining. You see it, but you can join however you want to join. So I'm just going to put in my measurements and I'll join it. Then I'll come back, we'll fix the sleeve, then fix the flare. The tutorial is almost over. I've joined it by the side. You can see I've shaped it to my measurements. So the only place that is open now is my zipper allowance. You see it. So now before we fix the zipper allowance, we have to take care of the sleeve. We have to attach the sleeve. So this is the fabric I want to use for my sleeve. So I'll just go to my sewing machine and create a casing for the elastic here, casing for elastic here. Then I'll pass elastic, then we'll join it. After we have used the elastic to gather it, we'll now join it to the armhole here like this. We'll join it here and join it for the other one too. So let me join and show you. Okay guys, you see we are done fixing the sleeve. You can see it is looking so beautiful. This is our Milkmaid dress. So I'll just fix whatever you want to fix. If it's a top, you fix a peplum, whatever you want. Me, I want to fix a flare to make it a dress. So this is how it's looking. The back is still open. I'm going to fix my zip to it. So guys, this is the final look of the dress. I attached my flare to it. I couldn't show you the video of where I attached my flare because I lost the clip. So all you need to do is just to attach whatever you want to attach below, and your Milkmaid dress is ready. I hope you found value in this tutorial. If you do, please give it a thumbs up and drop your comments, drop your question. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.